Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Welcome. So glad to have you here for another amazing episode of Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Today, I'll be diving in together with you to explore what's going on for you and for us collectively. And perhaps we will get some channeled messages and insights coming from that level, and just also me sharing some of my own human personal experiences and how we can get more effective in sharing our music, our purpose, our gifts with the world, and therefore bringing impact into the world. And this topic is coming up because there's a lot, again, I'm based in the US. There's a lot of concern about what's happening. There's a lot of people perhaps happy with some of the things happening as well. Whatever the case is, there's a concern that we're slipping off. We're not the America we used to be, and all these sorts of things. And so let's take a look at that really deeply. Look at all the different storylines that are going on, so that we can dismantle what's not true and see more of the essential truth, and see the impact that we can make, no matter what times it seems that we're living in. So I'm looking forward to having fun with you, sharing my perspectives and my wisdom on this, ultimately to help you to be more effective and making more impact, deepen your awakening, and make more sales. Ultimately, those are the three things. So let's get started. So so where we are, again, I'm willing to be more transparent than ever in terms of where I am on a mental, emotional level. From a spiritual perspective, of course, I've always been very forthright. Sometimes more my personal, private beliefs, I haven't allowed those to air out into the world nearly as much as some people do. And I will continue to not do a whole lot of that in terms of on platforms like Facebook, et cetera, or any of those things, because usually when I voice there, the response is not great, because I have half the people that will agree with me and half the people will send me, their own articles and stories to uh, maybe try to disprove what I'm saying or give me counter arguments, which sometimes is great. It's very enlivening and helpful, but I'm very open to doing these things in open public debate. So I've always said, like, if someone wants to openly, publicly, I guess, debate or have a real discussion around any issue, I'm always happy to do that. We can have you either on my show potentially. That's a potential option depending on who you are and what you have to share overall. Or we can get on a Facebook Live or personally, privately do it as well. I don't care. But got out of like all these debates, on threads and things like that, which I was never big on, but I've done it before, and there's such a level of unconsciousness going on. As good as it can be, there's a level of unconsciousness and that I feel happens that doesn't isn't supportive. A lot of um, survival energy, a lot of basal brain energy, that comes up, could come up within me, could come up within the person I'm talking to. So this podcast is one of my ways of sharing, but it also has to do with helping you see your own perspective of where you are, and having more faith and conviction in who you are as a spiritual being, regardless of your own personal beliefs and opinions, and allowing those things to perhaps support you, of course, but and what you're doing, but also to help you to really see a deeper truth. So let's talk about the worldview of what's going on right now in terms of some of the narrative. So here in America, we've got the idea that that and I talk about these things again. Why do I talk about this around business and sales? Because it is impacting our consciousness. So we have the idea America systemically racist, the Constitution is racist, Declaration of Independence is racist, whatever. The whole thing is racist. And this narrative has just gotten stronger and stronger. It's not a brand new idea. It's something that's been around forever. Because the truth is, some of those things that were in the initial foundations were not great, right? So we're not great. They were racist, in my opinion. So when we see that black people aren't considered, full beings like everybody else, for whatever the reasons why they came up with that as a compromise, it's still not acceptable. So here, in the states, I get it, and I don't even, I'm not great on all the facts and figures of the specifics sometimes. So they count as 10% or 40% a person or something like that. Black people, it's just ridiculous. So total insanity. And we could say, we could justify it mentally, maybe say, oh, those were the times. It just was what it was. But it's something that is a foundation of the country. So when people are saying, like, no matter what, we have to stay to the Constitution, we have to stay to the Declaration of Independence, we have to look at some of the deeper roots of all of it. And as good as most of it is, I feel a lot of it's really good. There's some cracks in that foundation. So we do want to keep that in mind, and I do, and this is coming from somebody that loves much of the ideas around the idea of America and freedom and liberty and justice for all and all these things, like so many nice things. But at the same time, we need to balance our view and be willing to see where there's issues as well. On the flip side, we also have to be willing to see where things have worked really well, in certain regards, in terms of when you say, I want to express myself, I want to share myself fully in the world, and I want to do all these things. I want to be free to do my thing in the world. I don't want to be a slave. I don't want to be held back. I don't want to, whether you're black, white, purple, brown, whatever, any color, you want to be free, right? You want to live in a free world. You don't want, you don't even, I mean, most of you don't even really want your guides to tell you, you have to do this and that. Hopefully, I mean, I don't think it ought to be that way. We listen to our guides and we follow our guidance, but to feel like you're a slave is another story. So during this time when I think it's pretty obvious that with the narratives around climate and the environment, which again, I've covered that a whole full episode recently. With all these different things happening and that, we're doing a big reset, the big awakening, reset currency, and so many things, COVID, and everybody needs the shot. Maybe we don't need the shot. Maybe it's unsafe. Maybe this, maybe that. If you get into all these stories a lot, then you're going to feel a great sense of fear or uncertainty or anger or what have you, right? And if there was such a thing as separation energy or a devil that was wanting to keep you down, like that would be a perfect formula, right? Let's keep us in all these narratives and concepts so that you're never really in your deep, full, awakened presence and doing what you want. So what we want to do is we want to realize everything that's within our bandwidth each and every day that we can experience our awakened nature and know that as the people, as the infinite beings we are, we get to choose, we get to have choice every single day. Even when people say no, we've already defined your choices. You either get the vaccine or you stay home. Okay, I still have choice. I still can decide to do what I want. I could be arrested for it. Other people could, mock me. People could say I'm a horrible person. I could be publicly ridiculed. I could be stoned to death. For God's sakes, who knows what's possible? Cancel that idea, right? So, but by making a choice, let's say, to go against what doesn't sound true for me, and have other people say, well, your truth doesn't matter, the science and the facts. I think that's another issue we're having. I think that people who truly, are convicted with other ideas and opinions and feelings about things, regardless of the science and the facts and the concepts, I think this is something that is a rise that of empowerment, even for those that are saying that believe this at one level, like, no, it's science and facts. Um, we should know by now, we should know better that if you are really a spiritual person and you're a little more advanced, the metaphysics and whatnot, we understand the science of facts, the deep science of facts is the world will be as we are observing it. The world will be as we declare it to be. So why are we acting as though the conditions are dictating how we are supposed to be being? Why? Why are you abdicating your power? That's what I'm seeing a lot of people doing, and it happens with me too. I see myself falling into that that trance or whatever it is. Okay, and that doesn't mean I would have changed, maybe many of my choices recently, but sometimes you get in that, a victimhood or a righteousness about what you believe, etc. But really, what we just need to be awake to what our truth is and to live our truth. So when people ask me things like, when they come to me with the issues of the day, and they are asking me, or they're telling me, or they're sometimes asking me like, hey, you getting the shot, you're doing this, you're doing that, what do you believe about this or that? I mean, I will share what my perspective is, but I also tell them, that I'm just listening for life in each moment. And I don't find that it's helpful for me to try to have preset ideas that I need to defend or and have to argue with people about. I don't feel that's necessary. I think a lot of times we think we need to come up with our opinion, take sides all the time, and then kind of go from there. Now, when people come to me and they say, okay, we've got a vote going on, literally, like based on this vote, this is how, this policy is going to have. Let's say we got actually the way I feel like maybe it should be, maybe, that instead of having the Senate in Washington or our governments decide things, hey, send out the bill to the people, let the people decide directly what it is. And then we can have a body that, implements it, because and enforces these things. But why can't the people themselves decide? I mean, okay, we need people to develop legislation and all that. We need all that, but why do they get to vote for us? I mean, it's just a thought. I don't know. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe it's not a good idea. We need to take more personal responsibility and power back. And there's a lot of voices saying like it's going just the opposite direction, right? Dictatorship, communism, fascism, um, etc. And there's other people that think what's happening is creating nirvana, and it's going to be perfect. We're going to dismantle all the environmental crap, all the racial injustice. That's all what's happening right now. How beautiful! We're right on track. Um, and who's to say who's right and wrong? I mean, as far as some of these things go. So the only way you can know your own truth again is within your own sense, your connection. I can't come on. I could have you guys listen to these shows every day, and I could say the same thing again and again. It would be helpful for you, because you have to remember again, what's your own truth, your real truth. When you get still and silent, what's your real truth? Your real orientation to any of these issues and to anything going on. And to knowing what that is and letting the power, the empowerment that you're meant to embrace, your divine sovereignty is what I call it, your divine sovereignty. Your divine sovereignty, if you're listening to your divine sovereignty, the idea that, well, your sovereignty doesn't matter if it imposes on someone else's sovereignty. Okay, no, my divine sovereignty is my divine sovereignty. I know that if I'm making choices based on what's true for me, I know at some level, I know at some level that it must be best for all. I gotta trust that. Otherwise, I'm lost. Otherwise, someone can hook me and say, "You're divine sovereignty," blah blah blah. That might impinge upon me. No, my divine sovereignty is my divine sovereignty, and that means I get to choose, just like you get to choose. And so within that, and we're coming, of course, from the heart. We're coming from our deeper truth, from the love. Then things will work well. And it's true in our purpose and our businesses. So I say all these things. I take the worldview to get started in some of these shows, and today is one of those cases. And I say, what's true for you? There's a lot of storylines going through your head about the world. I would encourage you to dismantle all of them, even the positive ones, because the less concept heavy that you are, the more you can be available to expanding your awareness and your perspective on what's really going on. Um, and from a level of awareness, it allows you to make wise choices for yourself and for the world. So dissolve your concepts, take them to task. Well, um, we must fight racial injustice. Okay, sounds perfect. Okay, sounds great. Maybe all of us could get behind that almost, most of us. So, but okay, but does it, is that concept, could we become very unconscious with that concept? Well, I perceive there's injustice here. Let's attack it. Let's kill the people. Let's demean them. Let's get in their faces. Let's not use love. Let's not be loving. Let's not be, like as though we're weak when we're loving and truthful. Again, look at Gandhi. Look at so many other leaders. Martin Luther King. We can be strong. We can take a stand for our purpose. We can be completely, invincibly strong and powerful and effective without having to be the way that we've seen a lot of people being in recent years. I'm just continuing to bring the message because there's going to be more and more hooks coming. You know, hey, come with me. This is a great cause, and the energy they're bringing into you is hate, anger, etc. So, got to be done with that. Or people say, look at what these, whatever liberal people are doing to our country, and they're really communists. You can't trust them. We have to, they all need to be locked up. We need to put everybody in jail, and they're Satanists and all this stuff. If you believe in abortion, then you're a Satanist, or it goes to extremes, and we want to dismantle all these thought forms. And the reason is, it's not that maybe that isn't your position on something, like something hopefully less dramatic than that. But like, you might have a position like, I just believe in pro-life or pro-abortion or pro whatever. I just, that's where I am right now. In my humanity, that's what I believe. Fine. I mean, that's fine. But if you can let go of the concept that it's so inherently true one way or the other, and that you realize it's just another belief, then you're free to see all perspectives. And then when it comes time, hey, you need to make a selection. You get to the restaurant and say, hey, what do you want? You got to order. Come on, you got to choose. Okay, well, if I want to eat, I guess I do need to choose something. I choose a preference. So this is my preference. This is where I lean towards, and then let it be so. So this is how we can handle these things. And even if it seems like there's all these corporations and the government coming together, or other narratives might be there's other factors coming together, that the racists and who knows, I don't know all the narratives. I don't watch the news close enough, but I know it comes to me from other people in my life. They come to me with all these stories. So, but whatever the ideas are, is to bring them to rest, come back into the infinite and the peace. And then when you're in that space and you let go of so many of these concepts and stop feeding on them constantly, like you keep watching the same video 100 times with not that much new information each time, um, you let go of that, you can actually respond and be effective for what you're really here for, which is to whatever it is for you, right? So, in one level, it's awakening, it's love and peace and contentment and wonderment of life itself right now, which doesn't require anything to be a specific way in our laws, in our governance, and the corporations, what goods are available to and how they're available to us, what prices, um, anything. Is the only thing I guess you could say you could make an argument for if you're fed, right? If you're fed, then okay, well maybe we're in a different level now. But even then, I mean, it's really about how awake are you willing to be, really. And so, and then when you feel that something needs to be changed, there's something you're meant to serve. You're meant to serve. You might be really into an idea, but if it doesn't stack up and it doesn't line up with your top priorities for your purpose in your life, then you need to largely let those things go. You can't put so much energy into it. So, what are the things that are calling to you? What are the things that are calling to you that are most true, most loving, most kind, most truthful that you're meant to be sharing with the world? Because the truth will set us free. It will. It will set us free. And there's such a power in it. And I always say, keep praying, for the things that we want in for our individual collective life, keep praying. And we're all praying different things sometimes, right? So we're not all going to agree. So one person's praying for peace, another person might be praying for war for all I know. I don't know. But I just know we're meant to pray. We're meant to, be as honest with ourselves as we can. And then we need to be bringing our gifts, our purpose, our light into the world as light leaders. You guys are spiritual rock stars, either established and growing or, up on the rise. And, what are you here to do? Are you here to help with the environment? Are you here to help with racial issues? Are you here to help with people's reluctance to be abundance, are you, and having more wealth? Are you here to help with people's relationships? All these things are critical. And if it's meant for you, that's what you need to put most of your focus and your service in the world. You could always make some space for other things that are important to you, but these are the main things. The main things. When you help bring more peace in someone's family, that may change some of the other things that you're worried about. It may change the environment. It may change racial justice. It may change those things more profoundly and more completely than making a direct focus on some hot issue going on for you right now. You're putting so much of your energy in, but it's not really a soul level what you're supposed to be focused on. And that could go to other things outside of all these political sorts of things. I don't know what else to call them, but could be again like my mom's ill. I should probably spend all my time with her. Maybe you shouldn't. What's your real truth rather than the default pattern, conditioning, guilt program. If you're letting some lower base energy drive it, you're in the wrong lane. You're not in your power. You're not in your divine sovereignty. Take back your divine sovereignty. The impact you can bring in the world is to take a stand for what you're meant to be focused on. Come up with a list, your top 3 to 5 priorities for your purpose, the work you're supposed to be doing in this lifetime, right now in the world. What are they? Focus on those. Give those the bigger priority. Everything else, either none or much less, much, much less. Otherwise, you can't. What calls to you as a soul the most, when you're really honest with yourself and when you really get conscious about it, consciously choose. You write a list, 20 things. Come up with what are your top 5 things you're meant to be serving right now. It could be serving yourself. I need more self-care. I need to take care of me. Okay, I'm going to take care of the whole world. What about taking care of me? What can I do to take care of me? How many more false beliefs and delusions and confusions I have in my system that I need to continue to shed? When we do that, we can be in a coherence. We can be in coherence that builds within all of us. And it's much stronger than the most diabolical forces on the planet to say they're out to get us. Let's just say it exists. That's, again, a concept, but let's say they exist. Fine. I'm telling you, presence wins every single time, hands down. Presence will win out. Presence will still be here, All this crazy stuff comes and goes, as it always has in history. Crazy stuff comes and goes. There's always a new kind of crazy going on, really. So it is an intense time. It is a big shift. It is a big awakening. How are you taking time to deepen your own awakening and others? How are you here to deepen more impact for what you're here to serve, whatever it is? And how can I start to help more people and circulate and be an abundant energy where people naturally would want to invest in my services, naturally want to invest and they want full in with whatever I'm offering because you're so full in on it, because you're so aligned with it. What is it? Currently I'm helping people, um, or currently with racial injustice, I'm helping people, but I'm doing it through the portal of my gifts of tuning into people, helping them with their marketing and their sales, and deepening their awakening at the same time. I'm helping people currently right now. Is that less of a service than, let's say, I could be out on the streets, or I could go into black neighborhoods directly and do whatever I could do there, or what have you. My mind could say that's more important. But my purpose and my deeper knowing is, as I'm impacting this person may impact millions of people around this subject, may empower millions, and may you know, bring justice in so many new ways. Because as those millions are being empowered, it may start taking down some of these systematic things that may exist, that do exist. So look at from that perspective for you as well. Look at how what you're doing when you're really true to what you're really meant to be focused on right now in your business and with your purpose, how that will bring the ripple effect. And always look at like, well, how can I bring more good to all of it? But again, by being centered, what I'm supposed to stay focused on, and not giving your power away to a collective mindset that tells you anything. Not. I mean, again, I'm telling you, collective nice ideas. Don't give yourself into them. Dismantle those thoughts. I know it sounds weird, but I'm telling you, oh, we should always be love and light. Okay, I mean, maybe even that. Like, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should be intense sometimes. Maybe I should be, maybe I ought to allow myself to feel anger. Maybe I should allow myself to express some of that anger, right? I mean, any person in a mental health field would tell you it'd be healthy to do those things rather, oh, it's all love and light. So it is all love and light, but it's like it can limit us, these just surface ideas. Like we want to go deeper and want to really look at what's true. This is where we get into shadows and all this sort of stuff too. We want to embrace all of ourselves, let all of ourselves come to bear and play, coming from our center at the same time, if that makes sense. So we're able to do that. We'll be able to bring greater impact in the world. We the people, not waiting for, although it'll happen, corporations and businesses and governments will bring things we consider ill and good, and that will continue to happen. You say, "Oh, that was good. Oh, that was ill. Oh my God, it's something really bad they're cooking now." Oh wow, that's good. That's a really good thing they're cooking. Okay, I love that one, and we're gonna continue to have ideas of what was the good and bad, and who knows what the truth. What's the truth? We don't even know usually what the absolute truth is. But we have our own perspective, and not to make it that perspective mean nothing, but to lighten up on it, and to lighten up on that perspective a little bit, um, for sure. Because if you're in a tense, toxic kind of energy around it, and you're not in the centered presence, then there's something that's false about it. You need to take a look at that. You need to come back to center, come back to love and deeper truth, and then you can serve everything. You can serve everything much more effectively, like the Martin Luther Kings, the Gandhis, the Mother Teresas. I mean, again, I just use those as three ongoing examples all the time. Okay, so take your power back. Realize regardless of whatever country you live in. Many of you live here in the States, I suppose. Whatever country you live in, although the foundations may not have been great, we are evolving. I can pretty much guarantee everything will come to pass, even those that treasure the American values and ideas. You know what? Things are going to keep evolving. Things are going to keep changing. The America we know today won't be the America that will be tomorrow. It'll continue to evolve. It'll continue to change. And times it'll seem like it's getting worse, and sometimes it'll seem like it's getting better. The truth is, things are happening, things are evolving. And how are you contributing to the field? How are you contributing field? How can you contribute to the field in the highest and greatest way? Knowing that that's enough. You don't need to try to control anything. That's the ego's thing. The ego may think it's completely in control right now in certain aspects, and it's in its folly. You know, if you look out in the world, you say those egotistical son of a guns, those billionaires, those governments, they think they got the power and they're putting power on us and making us do. No, no, you have choice. You've got divine sovereignty. You've got a choice. No one can take that divine sovereignty from you. You can only kind of give it away, but yet you still always have it, that makes sense. You give your power away temporarily, but you still have divine sovereignty. And so we, the people, have to take back our sovereignty, and whatever wants to be reshaped or remolded within our culture, our society, and in the world is happening. And it'll happen through this evolution of consciousness that you're contributing to through your own awakening, through the impact you're meant to bring, and by allowing, of course, to impact more lives by letting more sales happen. Like I always talk about more sales, because more sales we got, more energy, the more it's being valued, what you're doing, the more you're valuing it, and the more it can contribute to ever greater things to grow your business and to give to causes and things that you want to support that matter to you on your path. And that's your contribution. So anyway, so these are some of the things I wanted to share with you during this episode. Today, the show, hopefully it's clearing some things up for you and helping you. And I'd love to hear from you, whatever you have to share. And stay deep, stay in your truth, and rock on. So keep on tuning in. I'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Much love. Goodbye for now.
For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.